The story everyone is talking about in the US today, and we have the latest updates right here. Welcome to USA News. If you don't want to miss what happens next, subscribe now. Here is what we know so far. One of the deadliest building collapses in modern American history may have begun weeks before disaster struck. Nearly 4 years after the tragic collapse of the Champlain Towers South condominium in Surfside, Florida, federal investigators have released their final report, and the findings reveal a chilling timeline that raises new questions about building safety, engineering oversight, and whether warning signs were missed before 98 people lost their lives. In the early morning hours of June 24, 2021, while most residents were asleep, the 12-story beachfront condominium suddenly collapsed into a massive pile of concrete, steel, and debris. The disaster shocked the nation. Families waited desperately for news of loved ones. Rescue crews worked around the clock searching through the rubble. And millions of Americans watched in horror as one of the worst structural failures in U.S. history unfolded in real time. Now, after years of investigation, experts say the collapse didn't begin that night. According to a newly released report from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the chain of events may have started weeks earlier. Investigators found that critical connections between garage support columns and the pool deck began failing in early June 2021. Those failures placed additional stress on surrounding sections of the structure. Under normal circumstances, buildings are designed with safety margins that allow them to withstand unexpected loads and stress. But investigators say Champlain Towers South had dangerously limited margins from the very beginning. Federal officials concluded that the original design failed to fully meet building code requirements in place at the time of construction. Even more troubling, investigators found that portions of the building were not constructed exactly according to the original design plans. Over the following 4 decades, additional modifications around the pool deck further increased the strain on the structure. Heavy planters, layers of sand, and paving materials added significant weight. At the same time, years of exposure to moisture and salt air contributed to corrosion and long-term deterioration of critical structural components. Individually, these issues may not have caused immediate failure. Together, investigators say, they gradually weakened the building until it could no longer support itself. One of the lead investigators described the situation in stark terms. She explained that properly designed buildings should have enough reserve strength to handle conditions beyond normal expectations. In the case of Champlain Towers South, those safety margins were simply too narrow from the start. The findings reinforce concerns that warning signs may have existed long before the collapse occurred. For families who lost loved ones, the report offers additional answers, but it also reopens painful wounds. 98 lives were lost that night. Entire families were devastated. A vibrant residential community vanished within seconds. In the years since the tragedy, lawsuits and legal claims have resulted in more than $1 billion in settlements for victims' families and survivors. Public reaction to the report has been emotional. Many residents across Florida and around the country say the findings highlight the urgent need for stronger building inspections, stricter construction standards, and greater accountability when structural concerns are identified. Others see the report as a sobering reminder that infrastructure safety often goes unnoticed until tragedy strikes. As America reflects on the lessons of Surfside, one message emerges clearly from the investigation: catastrophic failures rarely happen without warning. Sometimes the warning signs appear months, years, or even decades before disaster. The collapse of Champlain Towers South remains one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in recent U.S. history. And while no report can undo the loss suffered by 98 families, investigators hope these findings will help prevent a similar catastrophe from ever happening again. We'll continue following developments and bringing you updates on the lasting impact of this historic investigation.